Congratulations on playing a phenomenal game and welcome to the BB family. As a super fan, you played till the bitter end. What was your original strategy coming in and how different was it to execute the strategy in comparison to what you thought it would be as a super fan?
First, thanks, Jess, for welcoming me to the BB family. Crazy to know that I'm part of it, but I'm very excited. I do want to say I tried to convince someone to recreate your iconic fall from the wall competition, but nobody did, and I was a little disappointed about that. That is one of my favorite moments from your season, and I love you for that. But coming into the game, my strategy was ultimately to be adaptable. Watching the game, I knew that there's not a lot that you can do to prepare for some of the twists that are going to come at you, but you can always expect the unexpected, and you can always manage yourself and how you respond to things. So I knew that I wanted to come in, be adaptable, be fluid, be social. It kind of went out the window pretty early when I found myself on the block and I found myself in a position where I had to win to stay in the house. But I do feel like I managed to regain my footing, build my social connections. I got in a solid alliance, which was crucial for my game. And I think that I didn't play the game I planned on going in. I never wanted to feel like I had to win to stay in the house. But ultimately, I feel proud of what I did there.
Congratulations on setting a record with your comp wins. At first, you had to win, but did you feel winning these comps made you lose sight of huge target on your back, or did you think to throw any comps to take the focus off of you?
I was always aware that as I was winning competitions, that the target on my back was getting bigger and bigger. From the very beginning, I was nominated week 1 and week 3. There was no way I was going to throw those veto competitions. Week 2, I felt like I was so far behind on strategy and building alliances because I had been nominated week 1, and no one wants to strategize with the person they think is going home first. So I tried to use that veto week 2 to build some trust with the women in the house who were seemingly coming together. So winning the first 3 veto competitions in a row, I knew that was a target I was never going to be able to shake. Once I got into the Leftovers Alliance, I was, in a position where we felt like every week we had to win to keep the power. So week 5, when I won HOH, and then OTEV, I maybe didn't have to win OTEV, but I was like, there's no way I can throw this one. And then by that point, I had 5 comp wins, and the target was not going to go away. So I felt like I was just going to keep winning because I would regret if I threw a competition and then ended up going home that week. So that would have been much tougher to swallow than knowing that I won too much and was a target for that reason.
It was a rough week in the house once you chose to share that cookout information about Kyle. You were confronted as to why it took so long for you to speak up and got some heat. This is a chance to explain how much of this was calculated in game and or personal, and looking back, would you have handled the Kyle situation differently?
First, I fully understand why people were skeptical. In this game, any information that you share, people are going to be looking at it as, why are you choosing to share this? What is the benefit you're getting? So with something as sensitive as a topic as this, I fully understand. And people have tried to manipulate situations, much worse than this in the past to move forward in the game. So I don't hold it against anyone for questioning my intentions or being skeptical about the timing. At the time, I tried to do what I felt was right. And, I know that there was never going to be a golden or perfect time to bring up this information. It was always going to be in people's minds. How is he using this? What benefit is he getting from this? So I think that having a conversation with everyone and feeling, people expressing how they felt and when they wish they would have known the information, I do wish that I would have shared it sooner, hearing it, how it affected everyone. So I do regret holding on to the information for as long as I did. And if I could go back, I definitely would do it differently. As far as, personal versus game, this was very much a decision on a personal level. I knew that for my game, it probably was not the smartest thing to do to bring up this information, but I know had I left the game, I would have regretted not saying anything and not speaking up. Coming into the game, I always said I didn't want to be complicit if something like this were to happen. And the longer that I didn't say anything, I felt like I was. And I didn't want to do that anymore. I would be, foolish to not recognize that it did have implications on my game. And, whether it was positive or negative. I fully expected it to be fully negative. I don't know that it was, and people are going to look at that and say that it was fully self-serving. All I know is, what's in my heart and what my intentions were, and I wanted to do what I felt was right. And ultimately, going back, I definitely would have done things differently. And I've apologized to everyone in the house for the way that things were handled, and I wish that I would have had these conversations sooner and could have avoided the situation turning into what it did.
Brittany expressed being worried about Turner and Monty and was trying to convince you to put one of them up. Why did you not take her advice? And looking back, do you regret this or any other decisions you made in the game?
Brittany and I were in very different positions in the game. I knew that I was a target, and I knew that Brittany was somebody that a lot of people felt that they could maybe beat in the end. So for Brittany's game, I know she had expressed to me that she said, if you go, Terrence is the only person I 100% feel confident that I can beat in the final two. So I think part of that may have fueled her decision in wanting Terrence to stay as opposed to, get one of these other people out. But for my game, I felt I was in a position where maybe I had to win out to make it to the end. But if there was a chance where I didn't have to, and maybe I could build some goodwill with Turner and Monty to get me through just one more week, I felt that was a risk that I was willing to take for my game because, no matter what, at the end of the day, one of them was still going to be in the game. And I was like, what, if they're going to come after me, I felt that going back on the promise to Turner would definitely have put me in a worse position. If I had targeted Monty, I knew that there would be a lot of people who weren't on board with that decision, and I could end up damaging relationships that I might need moving on. So ultimately, I tried to, take a risk that keeping in bigger targets may help me slide by one more week till I could be eligible to play in HOH again. Obviously, didn't work out that way, but I don't necessarily regret going the route that I did.
You said you would have stayed loyal to Taylor had you stayed. Would that have been your final two? And who do you think is now playing the best game thus far? And who you think will be next out?
I definitely wanted to stay loyal to Taylor. When push comes to shove, I don't know for sure if I would have wanted to sit next to her in the final two, but I definitely always had her in my mind being there on finale night with me. Seeing how the last couple of weeks shake out also says a lot. So ultimately, I've always said I would take someone to the end I felt like I had a shot of winning against. So I guess we'll never know if I would have felt that would have been Taylor in the moment or not. But I love Taylor to death, and I really wanted her there on finale night with me. As far as the players left in the game, I don't think anyone makes it to the final five by accident. So I think everyone in there has played a game that they're deserving to be where they're at. I would say that I think Monty has played the best game. He's played the cleanest game. He's managed his threat level very well. He has a lot of respect from people on the jury and a lot of people inside the house. So if I were betting, I would bet on Monty at the moment. And I don't know. I think maybe Turner could be getting a bigger target on his back. I think he's made some of the biggest moves of the season, and people may be afraid to sit next to him. So I wouldn't be surprised if he followed me next, but I also would not be surprised if he managed to find a way to make it to the end.